Step 1. Get spawned in the worst part of the map. The city? Leningrad. The mood? Grim. The economy? Also grim. The weather? Take a guess. You're born into a city still carrying the trauma of the 900-day siege from World War II. This means everyone older than 3 has seen things that would make a horror protagonist say, "Hell nah, bruh, nuh-uh." Your parents, Vladimir Spiridonovich and Maria Ivanova, survived the war and the siege, which automatically gives them Iron Will badges. You all live in what the USSR calls a kommunalka, aka communal apartment, aka a shared living space where everyone stares at you when you enter the house to see if you took your shoes off. Imagine this: 5 families, 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom, and about 17 opinions on how long water should boil. You grow up surrounded by neighbors who all know each other's arguments, cooking habits, and toilet time slots. There are no fancy toys, no backyard, no space. But there is a constant unspoken challenge: adapt or get swallowed by the chaos. This environment installs the following character traits: high resilience plus 100, poker face set at standard, Slavic stare maxed out. Now, visually, young you is not the intimidating figure on horseback you know today. You're small, quiet, slightly mischievous. The kind of quiet kid teachers look at confused, trying to figure out if you're super intelligent or actually on the spectrum. You're energetic, stubborn, and have a stare that suggests you're already assessing your weaknesses at age 8. You spend a lot of time outdoors, running around courtyards that double as unofficial martial arts arenas. This city isn't soft, and neither are the neighborhood kids. Conflicts happen regularly, which infuriates you. One day after enough humiliations, you finally decide, no more playground piñata. So you pick up Sambo and Judo, 2 martial arts known for throwing people around like airport employees do with their luggage. Training teaches you discipline, strategy, balance, and how to flip kids twice your size without making it personal. Very quickly, you become that kid. You know, the one who stays zen while everyone else is yelling. Your coaches notice your discipline, your classmates notice your confidence, and you notice that being underestimated is actually a tactical advantage. Step 2. Lock in. Now, every young adult hits that "what am I doing with my life" moment. You're around 17 at this point, but unlike the rest of us who chill and say, "I'll figure it out later," you start law at Leningrad State University. Why law? Not because you finished watching Suits, not because you love paperwork, but because it's a gateway to the environment you're already eyeing with suspicious interest. State institutions, power structures, authority. Basically, you want to become server admin. And so in 1970, you enter Leningrad State University. Picture this: you're disciplined, serious, still small, but very confident. Walking around campus like you're already in a Cold War spy movie, just waiting for someone to hand you classified documents. But first, the academic grind. University in the USSR is not keg parties and dorm pranks. It's ideological classes, history, more history, law theory thick enough to be used as self-defense, professors who have 2 tones, strict and stricter. You're like a shark in water. You adapt instantly. You don't cause trouble, you blend in. You get good grades, you keep training judo, and you remain extremely, almost suspiciously focused. There's no chaos, no rebellion, no teenage meltdown, just straight line ambition at full speed. School is the front door. Step 3. Enter your James Bond phase. Every great origin story has that one moment where destiny taps on the shoulder. Your moment comes when a KGB officer visits the university to talk to students. Now, imagine hearing KGB the way Americans hear 28 days annual holiday paid leave. You approach the recruiter like, "Hi, I would like to apply for everything." But the KGB doesn't just pick people off the street. They observe, they evaluate, they file reports. Then reports about the reports. By the time you graduate in 1975, the KGB has decided, yeah, come in little bro, you get officially recruited. Congratulations, you've entered the extremely serious job with zero Instagram presence sector. You've now begun your training arc. Goodbye civilian life, hello secrets. KGB training isn't gunfights and car chases, it's mostly discipline, analysis, psychological training, language classes, and learning to read a room like a surgeon reads an x-ray. The environment, quiet, cold, serious. Like an average dinner with your family and you're all German. But you're thriving. You're naturally reserved, naturally observant, naturally capable of saying absolutely nothing for long periods of time, which is, frankly, the job description. This phase instills aura increase, cold response to chaos, ability to keep secrets so deep. Well, to one extreme there's you, and to the other, Trump. Now it's time for your first significant gig. Dresden, 1980s. Let me set the scene. Everything reminds you of home. Buildings, skies, moods. Even optimism is on permanent vacation. You speak decent German. You wear your signature calm, unreadable, totally not spying on you face. Mission vibes? Serious. Bureaucratic? Coffee-fueled. Contrary to spy movie expectations, this isn't James Bond stuff. No shootouts, no rooftop chases. Your job? Gathering intel, analyzing political movements, building networks, surviving offices where fluorescent lights are designed to suck joy from your soul. Your local counterparts? The Stasi, bureaucratic warriors who made the KGB look like a casual book club. Your bonding involved 3 people taking notes on the same conversation. Zero jokes, zero smiles, 100% intensity. Then Europe installs the late 80s surprise DLC. Protests flared, the Soviet system wobbled, and the Berlin Wall shook like a toddler-built Jenga tower. Dresden, normally calm, turned into a political pressure cooker. And you stay calm. People panic, but you don't. Either you predicted it or you are just built for chaos. 1989 is bringing the defining moment. Protesters storm government buildings, even outside the KGB residence. You call the Soviet military for backup. Response? Nothing. The USSR is collapsing faster than a badly assembled IKEA shelf. You see firsthand what a failed state looks like. Lesson learned. Power must be centralized, chaos crushed, control never surrendered. Then the wall fell. East Germany dissolved. Offices burned documents. You watched quietly, absorbing the chaos. By 1990, your world, the Soviet system you trained for, is gone. Returning to Leningrad, you carry one truth. Chaos is the enemy. Multilingual, politically seasoned, and stoically calm. You are ready now. Step 4. Begin your political ascent. By 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed, and you think, maybe I can be a politician. How hard can it be? Fast forward, St. Petersburg mayor thinks you're clever, so you get promoted. Moscow noticed. 1998, head of the FSB. 1999, prime minister. And then, because Yeltsin suddenly realized he needed a vacation and maybe wanted to avoid responsibility, you become acting president on December 31st, 1999. That's right, you enter the new millennium by inheriting a country. You aren't interested in being a ceremonial figurehead. Oh no, you want results. Chechnya, handled. Regional leaders, centralized. Media moguls, let's just say they learned to be very cooperative. Some call you authoritarian. You prefer efficient. You see, in Russia, they value clarity, especially when it comes to who's boss. Spoiler alert, it's you. By 2008, Russia's constitution said, one Putin at a time, please. So you swap with Dmitry Medvedev. You become prime minister, the ultimate puppet master. Then in 2012, you return to the presidency like a boomerang that never misses. Elections, won. Critics, marginalized. Protesters, entertaining, briefly. Now, you like to think globally. In 2014, Ukraine has a little political hiccup. The pro-Russian president gets ousted. So naturally you say, let's reclaim Crimea. And boom, Russia back on the world stage. Syria, let's just say you have a soft spot for historic allies. Your troops show up, global headlines erupt, and you gain a reputation for being decisive. The world doesn't love these moves though. Sanctions? Check. Accusations of aggression? Check. Your image? Unstoppable. Step 5. Become frenemies with Trump. Donnie, you first meet him in 2017 at the G20 in Hamburg. A handshake is expected, polite, businesslike. Instead, it becomes a 2-hour discussion that leaves your advisors whispering and checking their watches. He talks a lot. You nod, sometimes you smile, sometimes you wonder if he's serious, or if this is some sort of performance art. Honestly, you think he enjoys confusing people, but you're very good at seeing through it. Helsinki 2018. The infamous press conference. He says he has great confidence in your denials about election meddling. Your face? Calm, stoic. Your brain? Did he just believe me? Later meetings are more casual. Osaka 2019. He jokes. Please don't meddle. You chuckle. Or maybe it's a nervous tick. Hard to tell sometimes. With Trump, every encounter is a strange mix of handshake, diplomacy, and middle school bravado. It's not all fun and games. Sanctions, wars, accusations, the world watches expecting tension. And yes, there's tension. But when Trump smiles, gestures wildly, and flexes his American toys, you can't help but appreciate the spectacle. He treats diplomacy like a reality TV show. And somehow, you're a supporting actor in his drama. Step 6. Always want more. By 2020, you decide, why not reset presidential terms? If you like a good binge, why stop at 4 seasons when you can go for 10? Now you can rule potentially until 2036. Critics call it a power grab. You call it long-term planning. Domestic dissent minimized. Media freedoms controlled. Opposition entertaining but irrelevant. Efficiency, remember? 2022, the year the world really learned your middle name could be controversy. You launch what you call a special military operation in Ukraine. Western countries get upset. Sanctions fly faster than your private jet. The media has a meltdown. But you, of course, remain calm, collected, and slightly smug. It's complicated. Many lives lost, cities destroyed, sanctions imposed. But in the Kremlin, we say, keep calm, plan ahead, and make a damage control speech every now and then. You are called authoritarian, a dictator, even a villain. Some accuse you of war crimes. Some say you have too much power. Some, well, they're just jealous you can still do judo without a hip replacement. But you prefer to think of it as consistent, strong, and occasionally misunderstood. Step 7. Try and keep it together. Now, 2025. After so much political tension in the past years, there's a touch of happiness sent toward you. The phone rings. You pick it up. Say nothing. A trembling voice. Hello? Is this Vlad? You're shocked to hear a voice you haven't heard in years. So forgotten, yet so familiar. You answer. Donnie? It's Donald. He invites you to the 2025 summit in Alaska. Your plane lands. You step out onto the tarmac expecting a standard greeting. And then it happens. A B-2 stealth bomber glides over your head, flanked by F-35s, like some metallic peacock. You try to remain composed, smile for the cameras, nod politely. Internally, yo, this is cool and absurd. Your advisors are sweating. You glance at Trump. He's grinning like a kid showing off a new toy. When the press asks you questions afterward, you become tsundere. Yes, shy. So what? There's no reason not to be a softie when Donald is next to you. After all, you're two of the most powerful men on the planet. So, if you think diplomacy is just handshakes and polite speeches, think again. Sometimes it's helicopters, sometimes stealth bombers, and sometimes it's smiling politely while the world watches you silently wonder, what is this man thinking? But one thing is certain, with Trump, life is never boring. Some people might see that gesture as a threat, a power move, but you probably see past that. You know he was just excited to show his new toys to his bestie. Step 8. Plan for the future. So, what happens next in your cinematic universe? Well, your term reset means you could stay in power until 2036. Which honestly is long enough to raise a whole new generation of world leaders, who will also wonder why you never retire. Spoiler, you don't get tired. You cause tired. Will there be more political chess? Of course. More global drama? Absolutely. Another summit with Donald Trump? Who knows, maybe you'll live stream it this time. The world seems to enjoy uncomfortable handshakes and chaotic press conferences. But here's the twist, history isn't a straight line. It's more like a bear riding a unicycle. Unpredictable, slightly dangerous, and weirdly entertaining. And whether you're out negotiating, reorganizing, or accidentally causing a geopolitical plot twist, Russia will always be your priority.